Hi guys, today we're going to finish up chapter 4 with some notes about Cpctc, and really what we're doing is we're just going to take an idea. Here, I'm going to draw a picture. You don't have to draw this, but like when I have a picture here and I say, how are these congruent? Hopefully you're saying those are congruent by side angle side. Now when you talk about side angle side, you're only proving 3 things. A triangle has 6 things, right? A triangle has 3 angles and it has 3 sides. But for side angle side, you're proving 2 sides and 1 angle. So you're left with some things that you never had to really talk about. So for instance, angle A and angle C are technically congruent once you prove it congruent by SAS. And these little angles down here at the bottom, those are congruent. And then those 2 sides there in blue, those are also congruent, but we never really talk about them. But are they really congruent? And the answer is yes, of course they're congruent. So the letter Cpctc stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So let's go back and look at this picture. Like for instance, A and C, are those corresponding parts? Yes. Are they on congruent triangles? Yes. So that means they have to be congruent. Okay, so what we're going to do is we just have one new step added into the proofs that we're already doing and know how to do, and it's really not any more difficult than what we've been doing for a couple of days. Okay, so we're going to start by putting in our given information. Okay, so that's easy to do, and that was given. MO is congruent to MO, so that is reflexive property. Now, once you have 3 things congruent, 1, 2, 3, and I have 3 things on my triangle, you're going to look at it and you're going to say, how can I prove it congruent? I have 5 choices: side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, or HL. So when you look at your picture, how are they going to be congruent? Hopefully you're saying side, side, side. So for step 3, we're going to write a congruency statement. The first triangle can be in any order that you choose. I'm choosing MPO. Now, the second triangle is dependent on the first. So whatever I went into the order for the first, I need to match it up with the order of the second. So I'm going to look at the triangle on the right and say what corresponds with M, what corresponds with the P, what corresponds with the O. So that would be M, N, O. Okay, so now it's saying what or how are P and N congruent? Well, guys, this is the same picture that I drew over here, isn't it? It's the same one. And so remember over here how A and C were technically congruent? Well, on this picture here, P and N are technically congruent because the triangles are congruent and every part of every triangle has a corresponding part. So we're just going to answer using those 5 letters, Cpctc, which again means corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And you're finished. So you're going to finish every proof with those 5 letters, Cpctc. Now, moving on to the next proof, I couldn't get my congruency symbol to work on my computer when I was typing this out. So these are all congruent. And for some reason, these are supposed to be triangles, so nothing's really working. Okay, let's put in the information. Angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. Angle ABD and CBD are congruent. And this is all given. How do we know it's reflexive? Well, they share this here in the middle. So that's BD is congruent to BD. Do you have 3 things congruent? 1, 2, 3. Yes, you do. So now it's time for your congruency statement. So ABD is congruent to CBD. Now, you're going to have to look at it. You have 5 choices. How are you going to prove it? SSS, SAS, ASA, AAS, and HL. Okay, so we have 2 angles and the sides directly in between. So this is a case of ASA. All right, so we're going to take what we're proving, which is up here, and we're going to use the 5 letters to prove it. So those 5 letters again are Cpctc. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And we're finished. All right, so let's kind of fix this proof up. My triangles are not correct. This should be congruent. This should be congruent. Okay, so whenever you're told that something is the midpoint, that means it's in the middle and it's cutting it in half. So you need to mark the 2 things that are equal. So those 2 segments are equal. I also know that AB is congruent to BD, and all of this was given. So let's apply the definition of midpoint. It tells us right there, definition of midpoint. So I already have it marked on my picture. What 2 segments were equal because I know how a midpoint works? Well, AC is congruent to CD. Okay, now I need something else. Look at the picture. We have this reflexive side. BC is congruent to BC because it is reflexive. Now, do you have 3 things congruent? 1, 2, 3. Yes. So that means you're ready for your congruency statement. So the first one, the order can be in any order. The second one, you have to match it with the order of the first. So A, C, B. Hopefully you're thinking DCB. Now, you have to look at the picture and you have 5 choices: SSS, SAS, ASA, AAS, and HL. And we only know the side, so that one's pretty easy. It's SSS. So I'm going to take what you're trying to prove. Angle A is congruent to angle D, and prove it by my 5 letters, Cpctc. And we're finished. Okay, moving on. Now let's fix this proof a little bit. These are congruent. And these are triangles. Okay. BD bisects the angle. So bisect means it cuts it in half. So let's find angle ABC. So angle ABC is this big angle here. So this segment is cutting it in half. So that means I have 2 equal angles. And so I now have those marked. AB is congruent to BC. And all of this is given. Now, I already have it on my picture, but I need to put it within the proof what the definition of bisector told me. The definition of bisector told me that these 2 angles I just highlighted in yellow are congruent. So let's label those and use 3 letters. So that would be ABD is congruent to the one here on the right, which is CBD. Now remember, the middle letter has to be the vertex. The A and the D could be flip-flopped. The C and the D could be flipped. But the middle letter is the vertex. Now, we have a reflexive property. We've had this several times already. This is BD is congruent to BD. So now we're going to write a congruency statement. ABD is congruent to CBD. Now, here's the moment of truth. Can you prove why? You have 5 choices: SSS, SAS, ASA, AAS, and HL. Okay, so we have 2 sides here in blue, and then the angle that's in yellow in the middle. So this is a case of side, angle, side. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, and we always in the proof same way. Cpctc, which stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Whew, okay. Is that it? That might be it, guys. If you have any questions, please send me a message on Canvas or on Remind or come to a tutorial. Thanks. Bye.